So Darlene asked, she said, I need to prepare to put my house up for sale in 6 months. I want to decrease 80%. Well, the fact is, even people that are super organized, got it all together, and are streamlined, the less they have in their home, the better it is for the sale. So if you can have like a clear attic, a clear, if you have storage space, the best you could do to keep everything clear, that is one of the best things you could do. Now, I could speak to this from experience because I did sell my house. And, it really isn't about being organized or being not organized, because even the most organized person in the world, moving, just moving alone, is traumatic. It's a lot of work, and it's emotional. It's very emotional, even when you want it, even when it's something that is, like something that you are excited for, like you wanted this sale, you wanted to move, you're going exactly where you wanted to go. It's all emotional. So the best thing that you could do is to make it a fun project. So the first thing I would say is do what I do for Christmas. Like, how Christmas is so much work, right? It's so much work, and it could be really draining. It could be exhausting, right? Well, for years I had Christmas be just like one big blur, and then at the day of was like, over before you knew it, and I was like, so much work and so much expense not to have really enjoyed it. So what I started doing years ago was making the all of the work that had to be done for Christmas be part of the celebration. So it was one big event, not a one day thing. And I was talking to a girlfriend recently who is thinking about doing some sort of a business for helping people moving and that kind of thing, because she has moved so many times and she's organizationally gifted and she's really good at this. And we were talking about it, and I said, I would do exactly like I do for Christmas with the move. I would make it like it's a celebration, and all of the work is part of an event. And then this way, the journey is fun and not draining. So that's one thing. Another thing is to, things like decluttering, like hello, like that's kind of like a duh, right? But it really is really a motivational way to declutter. Even if you're not moving, even if you're not selling your home, it's a good mindset to get and be like, let's pretend that some amazing opportunity just came across my path, but I have to move, and I have to move next week. How would I need to live so that that could happen? And that really changes your perspective about things that you're keeping, things that you want, and being able to let go of things. Now, it's really important when you move not to take anything with you that you don't want, right? Be sure to be really discerning as you're decluttering, so that you're thinking, do I want this to be a part of my new life? Do I want this to be a part of my new home? Do I want to pay somebody to move this thing? Do I want to pay to store this thing in case you have to, store things in between? Is it worth it for me to keep this thing in any way, shape, or form, right? Now, years ago, I did sell my home, and this was back in 2015. And I had already been organized for many years by then. And let's see, 1989 is when I first got it together. So I didn't have a lot of excess, but I had a lot of life. I had a lot of living in that house. I lived there for 16 years. I was there with my husband. We had been divorced a few years by that time when I sold it. But we had lived there with, a full family, 5 children, 2 dogs. At one point we had a rabbit, like birds, that kind of thing, right? And so it had a barn in the backyard, which really, we would say a garage now, but the house was built in 1920, so it actually was a 3-stall barn. So there was like this barn in the backyard, basement, attic, right? And I'm an Italian. I'm an Italian woman with 5 kids in New Jersey. So there's stuff that comes along with that, There's the china closet, there's the china, there's the serving platters, there's the entertaining pieces, there's decorations, the Christmas decorations, the handed down things that you got from people. Like, just because you're organized doesn't mean you live with nothing. It means that you have the things that you need, you love, you use, and you want, and that fit in your space. Well, when you're going to move, now, especially in my place, I don't know what you're doing, but I downsized, and a lot of people at a certain point, they downsize. So now you have to think, well, what will fit in my new space? And along with that comes identity. It's like, well, this is who I am. Our things, we don't realize it, but our things identify. We identify with our things. Our things identify who we are. And you'll notice that if you decide to make a big change in a room, say you're going to go in a particular room and you're going to say, you know what? I want this different. And you see something that you love. I had this experience with my front porch. You might have heard of it. And it's like, I really love this look, but I'm going to change this room. And then suddenly you'll be faced with things now that need to change. And you're like, oh yeah, but there's this picture of, my kids when they were little, and there's this picture of, and there's this shelf with all of these things on it. And then all of a sudden, we're taking something that we actually wanted, and it's morphing into something that we feel like we can't have because that's not who I am. But the reality is you are who you are. There's no set rules to who you are. So as you're doing the decision making of getting rid of things, there's going to be a chunk of identity that is attached to those things. And if you're downsizing, that's another tough one, because now you've got to let go of things maybe that, you really feel like is a part of you, because that's the meaning of identity. Identity is to make the same as. That's why it's so hard to let go of things. We feel like we're cutting off an arm or something. It isn't easy, right? But it's all in our perspective, right? It's all in our perspective. How do we choose to look at this? And something I can tell you from experience is it gets easier and easier with each decision. Now, one of the decisions that I made was that I was no longer going to have things that I had just because. Like china, I hardly ever use that china in my china closet. Did I really love it? Yeah. Did I like that it was there? Yeah. Did I like the way it looked? Yeah. With my dining room in my 4-bedroom house with my Italian family, it was a perfect fit. But did it fit in my new life? No, it didn't. Did I love the china closet? Yeah. Did it fit in my new life? No. We have to make ourselves more important than our things. Oh, yeah, but I love this thing. What about you? What about you? How important is that thing? So one of the things I decided to do was use the things that I never used before because I love them, and release the feeling I had of what will happen if. What if it breaks? What if this? Well, I decided if it breaks, it breaks. I took all the stemware that I had. Now, it wasn't my mother's, but it was what I found in an estate sale that reminded me so much of what I grew up seeing in a china closet when I was a little girl. Now, my mom died when I was 5, so there was certain parts of her that I wanted to remember with my own family. So that's why I bought that stemware. Well, did I love it? Yeah. And did I use it? Absolutely. That's one of the good things about that, is that I decided, you know what, I'm going to enjoy these things. I'm not going to just let them be a showpiece. So I did use them. But when I was moving, I knew I didn't want all that stemware. Personally, at that time in my life, I didn't want anything that I had to care about that much. If it broke, I wasn't going to do those kind of entertaining things anymore where I would need dessert stemware and champagne flutes. You know what I decided? I want dollar store crap is what I decided. I want some stuff that I don't have to care about if it breaks. I want my life to be free and unencumbered by things that shouldn't matter to me at this point. And personally, if I could go back, never should have mattered to me at any point. So that's what I did. I took all the stemware, I kept the wine glasses, And I asked my sister, did any of this fit with what you have? Because my sister Maria has a lot of traditional things. She took a few of those pieces. The rest of them I brought over to a store that was in our neighborhood called Angel's Attic. And I left it there. Let somebody else love that stuff. Yeah, it's over for me. So that's one of the things is really think about what you care about and the life you want to live bringing over to your new place, because your things have a hold on what you're going to do, how you're going to feel, who you're going to believe you are moving forward. This is something that I talk about quite often, that we as human beings, we have this way of living. You start as a baby, then you go to be a toddler, then you are a what do they call them, what's the next thing after a toddler, then you're a kid, then you go to grade school, then you go to high school, you're a teenager, you're a tween, and then you go, maybe you go to college or you go off to work. And in each one of those stages of life, we know what to do with ourselves. We get rid of our rattles. We get rid of the, things that the gummy toys that you need because you don't have teeth, and then the next thing comes and now you have blocks and you have puzzles. Then the next thing comes and now you have, drawing things and colors and paints. And then the next thing comes, you have dolls, and then you have Barbies. And then the next thing comes and you have, music, and like, you get what I'm saying here, right? There's stages of everything, and we're able to let go of some and move on to the other because we know this is the next stage of life that we're in. Well, when you get older, like after you have children, or you're at a certain time of your life where, well, this is who I am now, we don't know what to do with that. Well, I'm supposed to be this forever? No. If you were a mom, then you were mommy at one point, and then after a while you just become ma. Hey, ma, you're not mommy anymore. You don't wipe butts anymore. You don't blow noses anymore. Will we always be a mother? Yeah. But are we that same mother that we were, that wiped the noses and rocked them to sleep and made the decisions? No, now we have a whole new life, and we've got to know how to live that. If you've never had children, then that's a whole nother set of circumstances, because we have expectations for ourselves. Well, we think, when we're young, we think, I'll get married, and then I'll have kids, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do that. And sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And then we're like, well, what do I do now? And we just have to make that decision. Well, what do I do now? Thank God we are not living in that era where women that aren't married at a certain age are considered spinsters or old maids. Like, that's ridiculous. But the thing is that we still have an expectation of life. This is the way I'm going to live. And then when that doesn't happen, well, what do? We make a decision, just like we do when we're empty nesters. We make a decision. Well, how do I want to live? Not what do I have to fit into this hole? I have this round peg, I have this round hole, and I'm going to fit it in there. Well, what if your hole is square? So as time passes, the hole changes. And each time that hole changes, and we're able to move ahead with that, and that peg, it transforms to fit that hole. And at a certain place, we have to make a decision because society hasn't made it for us, because development hasn't made it for us. Whereas we're the same now. We haven't. There's nothing different. We know how to walk. We know how to talk. We know we've been educated. We know we have skills. Now it's up to us. And it's something that people really don't talk about that much. And moving and selling a house, well, that's a huge opportunity to make a decision about that kind of thing. How do I want to live moving forward? What do I want to take with me moving forward? When I moved from my house, I was in my kitchen, and I'm sitting down there in my kitchen. I'm talking to God, and I go, all right, God, I feel really emotional. Like, I cried all the time, and I wanted to sell the house. It wasn't something I didn't want to do, but it was hard. It was hard to let go of that. I knew that, I was afraid I was making the wrong decision. I knew that I was I was going to go down the shore a whole hour from where my family was. I'd never been alone in my whole life. There was a lot of things that were emotional for me. And like I said, even in the best of circumstances, it's emotional. So I sat there in my kitchen and I said, all right, God, how do I tackle this? Because I just feel completely lost. Sometimes where you feel like you're in the middle of the ocean in on a raft and you dropped your oars in it. You ever feel that way? And you're like, how do I get from here to there? When emotions rise, when there's a lot to do, especially for us organizationally challenged types, it's difficult for us to put things into perspective. It's hard for us to get the details and break them down. That's why Tidy Tutor University, now known as Tidy Tutor Masterclass, works so beautifully. That's why what helped me to get where I am, the book Sidetracked Home Executives, that's why I tried for so many years to get it together and I couldn't. Because there were people that just didn't understand me. Pam Young, Peggy Jones that wrote that book, they understood me. They understood that I couldn't break things down. I needed to have them broken down for me so that I could follow something because it didn't exist up here. So at this point, even though I was a tidy tutor, I had been organized, I don't know how many years at that time, since 1989. I had a plan that worked beautifully. Even though all of that, everybody faces this place where they're like a little daunted, So I sat there and I said, God, what do I do? And he said, take care of one room at a time, room by room. And I was like, that felt so amazing. It felt so freeing. I loved it. So I said, okay, one room at a time. And that's what I did. So I recommend that. Start with dejunking. Now 6 months depends on the state that you're in. If you have a lot of stuff, it's going to take more. It's just going to take more because you've got a lot more to get rid of. But so what? One room at a time. You could finish a room in 1 week. You could take from Sunday to Saturday and finish your room. Declutter everything. First thing, that's what you need to do. Have everything decluttered. Nothing in there, nothing in any room that you don't need, love, use, want to move over to your next place. And then think, could a 6-year-old pack this up for me? If I had boxes in here and I said to a 6-year-old, here, go in this room and everything in there, put it in this box. Now, of course, there's going to be glass and stuff. So we're just going to think in a perfect world that as soon as they pick it up, that glass is going to be wrapped magically, okay? So we're going to think that. So take this, and then all you need to do is write kitchen on each box. If that could happen, that's it. You're good. You're golden. It'll be easy then. So there's that. Now, before I end this, I'll look at the comments. I'll see what you guys are thinking and saying. And I'll let you know that I have another opening for a one-on-one working with me. And so that's excellent. People love it. I am so excited that I do it. And so that's available to you. If you're interested, private message me and say, Kathy, give me more information about the working with me one-on-one. I like to do it for 12 weeks. I find that that's what's necessary, but it doesn't always have to be. So that's why I like to talk, and we just see if it's a good fit, if it'll work, if that you're in the market for that, if you need something like that, then that's available, okay? Another thing is, the Tidy Tutor Masterclass, that used to be known as Tidy Tutor University. It's brand new, and it is pay what you can. And the reason I've done that is because this is more of a ministry to me than it is a business. And while the structure of it is going to change a little bit because I've learned some things about the pay what you can kind of offer, right now, what it is as at the time of this recording, it's the minimum is $3. No joke, okay? But it actually is a $497 course. If whatever it is that you can pay for this course, then you just put it in there, okay? You can't pay any less than $3, however, okay? And whatever it is that you can, please know that my heart to you is as big if you can only do $3 as if you could do the $497, okay? So please don't feel like I can't do this because I feel bad. Just do whatever it is you can, all right? Please, please, please. And then the other thing is that Tidy Tutor Insiders, which is a membership that I have, you could take the course all on its own and it stands on its own. You ever like buy something from somebody and then they're like, as soon as you buy it, there's a pop-up that comes and it says, hey, you're probably going to need this. And you're like, wait a minute. So what I got isn't good enough? I hate that. The course itself is complete. You don't need anything else. But here's the thing. We all know who we are. Even the organizationally gifted people buy things and forget about them. They buy things and then get overwhelmed and afraid or whatever and don't jump in. So what I have is a membership. It's only $29 a month. That's less than $1 a day. You can cancel anytime. And it is there to help you succeed taking the course. You've got a community. You've got me. You've got the instructor in your back pocket. How can you go wrong? If you need to succeed, you need insiders. Now, I've made it available today I think it's today at 12. It might be tomorrow at 12 noon because I felt bad because of the holiday and I wanted to give people the opportunity in case they were away. For $1, you get the first month. So you could check it out for just $1. And you could, enjoy all of the benefits of membership for a month if you want to, okay? The reason that I have this available again is because I had it available and I said it was going to end, but people emailed me and let me know that there was no PayPal option and a lot of people only could pay via PayPal. So I had to get that fixed and I made this available to them. So it's available to you too. So take advantage if you can. It will not open again until September. All right. So if you're thinking about doing this, you want to make sure that you do it. All right. All right. So I'm going to look at the comments and see what you guys have to say. Darlene, are you part of Insiders right now? Please forgive me if you are. All right. There's been so much changes that have been going on in there. I've canceled a lot of people from a different platform and invited them to move back into the new platform. Like I canceled them in an old platform and then invited them to come back into the new platform. So there's just so much changes. So please forgive me, Darlene, if you are a part right now and I didn't know. Yes, you are. All right. God bless. All right, great. So listen, in the Insiders, there is a section in the Coffee Talks that has, it's called Minimalism and Miscellaneous. I believe there's 2 videos in there on moving. You might want to watch those, especially things that I get into with all of the details you have to do, keeping track of shutting off the water, the electric, the cable, getting it hooked up in the new places. You can get that all set up right now in your binder before you even, that. And then also in having people pick up stuff is so important. Make sure that you call places a month in advance. Ask them, when do you pick up? Sometimes it's even more with this whole thing that's going on in our world right now. Call, whoever it is, Vietnam Vets, Goodwill, whatever it is that does local pickup. Lupus Foundation, I think they do that too. Call and ask them, what's the deadline to have things picked up in the front? One of the things you don't want to do is run around to donations and bringing things places. Have them pick it up curbside. But you will not be able to do that if you don't schedule it in because they need sometimes two weeks advance notice. So you don't want that to happen to you. All right. So good. I'm so happy that you're in there. All right. So that's that for this. Thank you so much for being with me. And I'll see you on the next call. And I will put in the chat where you can hook up with Insiders and the masterclass. Okay. Bye. If you're watching this video right now and Tidy Tutor Insiders is not available, then click on the link and get into the waiting list. If you are not part of the Tidy Tutor Masterclass, click on the link and find out more. Thanks so much for being in my world.